For some of us, a quiet apology is the soundtrack to our lives. It's not just a word we say when we bump into someone. It's a feeling woven into our very being. It's the constant, quiet hum in the background that constantly questions if you are too much, if you are in the way, if you even deserve to be here. This feeling isn't a personality quirk. It's often a scar left by the past, a ghost of trauma that follows us into the present. It convinces us that our existence itself is an inconvenience we must constantly apologize for. Today, we are not here to diagnose, but to understand. We are here to hold up a mirror to these quiet behaviors and see them for what they are, not signs of weakness, but strategies of survival. Let's explore the 7 ways trauma can make you apologize for the simple, beautiful fact of your own existence. Number 1, you constantly over-explain yourself. A friend asks for a favor this weekend that you can't do. A simple, polite refusal should be enough, but for you, it isn't. Instead, a torrent of words follows. You explain that you have a prior commitment you made weeks ago, that you feel terrible about it, and you detail exactly why your other commitment is unmovable. You hand them a detailed report, justifying your boundary. This isn't just about being polite. This is a defense. When trauma has taught you that your needs, your boundaries, or your refusals will be met with anger, punishment, or abandonment, you learn to build a fortress of justifications around every refusal. You don't just decline. You present a court-admissible case for why your boundary is valid. The underlying belief is that you don't have an inherent right to have your own limits. That right must be earned through a sufficiently good reason. You're not just giving an explanation. You are trying to soften the blow of your own needs. The unspoken message is a plea for the other person not to be upset with you for having a life outside of their request. Your reasons become a shield, protecting a self that feels it has no right to simply be without a valid excuse. Number 2, you minimize your own needs. Think about the small daily moments of self-neglect. A friend might ask if you're hungry, and though your stomach is growling, you insist that you're fine. Someone might see you shivering and offer you their jacket, but you quickly dismiss their concern, claiming you're perfectly okay. When a person acknowledges a difficult experience you went through, you might immediately downplay it, suggesting it wasn't a big deal or that others have faced much worse. This is the habit of self-minimization. It is the act of shrinking your own needs, discomforts, and pains until they are small enough not to bother anyone. After a traumatic experience, especially one where your needs were ignored or treated as a massive inconvenience, you internalize a dangerous lesson. Your needs are a burden, so you learn to silence them. It is a survival mechanism. If you have no needs, you can't be a burden. If you aren't a burden, maybe people will let you stay. This goes beyond just physical needs. It extends to your emotional needs for comfort, validation, and support. You become fiercely self-reliant, not out of strength, but out of a fear that asking for help will reveal you to be the needy, inconvenient person you fear you are. You learn to become a ghost in your own life with ghost-like needs that require nothing from anyone. Number 3, the reflexive apology. You're walking down a crowded hallway and someone bumps into you. The first words out of your mouth are an apology. You hold a door open for someone and they don't say thank you, and you find yourself apologizing. You preface questions and meetings with an apology for even asking in the first place. This is the reflexive apology. It has lost its meaning as an admission of wrongdoing and has instead become a tool for social navigation. It's a preemptive peace offering. Trauma can put your nervous system on high alert, making you hypervigilant to the moods and reactions of others. You become a master at sensing and diffusing potential conflict before it even begins. The word for being sorry becomes your go-to tool. It becomes a way to signal that you mean no harm, that you are not a threat, and to plead with others not to be upset. You apologize for taking up space, for having a voice, for your very presence, potentially disrupting the calm. You are taking responsibility for the entire emotional temperature of the room. It's as if you're apologizing for the space your body occupies and the sound waves your voice creates. The act of apology becomes a tool of de-escalation, a desperate attempt to keep the peace around you, because you know how fragile peace can be. Number 4, you find it hard to accept compliments. Someone at work praises your project, remarking on the amazing job you did. Instead of a simple, thank you, you feel a wave of discomfort. You might deflect by insisting it was nothing special, or that anyone could have achieved the same result. You might even immediately point out a tiny flaw in the project that no one else noticed. For someone whose sense of self has been fractured by trauma, a compliment can feel like a lie. It directly contradicts the internal narrative that insists you are not good enough, that you are flawed and unworthy. This core belief, as painful as it is, has become a strange source of safety. If you believe you are fundamentally flawed, you won't be surprised or devastated when others treat you as such. A compliment threatens this safety. To accept it would mean challenging that core belief. It would mean allowing a glimmer of light into a room you've kept dark for a long time. So you deflect it. It's not false modesty. It's a defense mechanism. You're protecting that wounded part of you from the potential pain of believing something good about yourself, only to have that belief shattered later. Accepting a compliment would mean challenging a core belief that has kept you safe. The belief that if you stay small and unworthy, no one will have a reason to hurt you again. Number 5, you engage in extreme people-pleasing. This is not just being a nice person. This is a pattern of behavior where you consistently abandon your own wants and needs to cater to the wants and needs of others. Your entire sense of self-worth gets tangled up in your utility to other people. You're the friend who always says yes, even when you're exhausted. You're the partner who never states a preference, always deferring to what the other person wants. You contort yourself into whatever shape you think will be most pleasing, most useful, and least likely to be rejected. This is a strategy learned in environments where love and safety were conditional. You learned that to be loved and to be safe, you had to be perceived as good, helpful, or easy to get along with. Your value wasn't inherent. It was earned through service. The fear driving this is profound. If you stop being useful, people will leave. If you express a conflicting opinion, you will be abandoned. So you silence your true self. You become a mirror, reflecting back what you think others want to see, having long forgotten what your own reflection even looks like. Your apology for existing takes the form of relentless service. Number 6, you are afraid of taking up space. Look at how you sit in a room. Do you make yourself as small as possible, tucking your arms and legs in, trying to shrink? When you speak, is your voice quiet, almost hesitant, as if you're afraid to be heard? This is a physical manifestation of apologizing for existing. Trauma can teach you on a primal level that being seen is dangerous. To be noticed is to be a target. So you learn to become invisible. You choose the seat in the corner. You avoid walking in the middle of the sidewalk. You hesitate to share your ideas because you feel they're not worth the airtime they would occupy. This isn't just about shyness. It's a deeply ingrained fear of being an imposition. You feel like your body, your thoughts, and your very presence are an intrusion into other people's space. This is often connected to the freeze response in the nervous system. When faced with a threat you can't fight or flee from, the body's primitive response is to freeze, to play dead, to become so still and small that the predator loses interest. Your body learns the language of apology long before your mouth does, carrying the memory of needing to be invisible to survive. Number 7, the core belief that you are a burden. This final point is not so much a behavior as it is the very foundation from which all the others grow. It's the quiet, constant hum of anxiety that your very presence is an inconvenience to the people you love. This isn't a logical thought you can easily argue away. It's an emotional conviction, branded onto you by past experiences. Perhaps you were told directly that you were a burden, or perhaps you were treated with sighs, eye rolls, and neglect, which taught you the same lesson without words. You learned that your happiness was secondary, your problems were tiresome, and your needs were a drain on the resources of those around you. So now, you live your life as if walking on eggshells. You hesitate to call a friend because you fear you will bother them. You suffer in silence rather than ask for help because you are convinced you will be a drain on their energy. You feel a pang of guilt every time someone does something nice for you, as if you don't deserve it and are now indebted to them. This belief is the ultimate apology for existing. It transforms you into a guest in your own life, always trying to be the perfect, easy, unobtrusive guest, so that you won't be asked to leave. It's the source code for every reflexive apology and every minimized need. Healing from this is not about suddenly becoming loud and demanding. It's the slow, gentle process of unlearning. It's learning to say no without a 5-page essay explaining why. It's learning to say thank you to a compliment and letting it land. It's learning that your needs are valid simply because they are yours. It's the quiet revolution of finally believing that you are allowed to be here. You are not an imposition. You are not a burden. Your existence is not something that requires an apology. If this video resonated with you, if you saw a piece of your own story in these words, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more content that helps us understand ourselves and each other a little better. And now, for all of us here together, I want to ask you something. In the comments below, let us know which one of these points you related to the most. You don't need to share any details you're not comfortable with. Simply naming it, whether it's number 1 or number 6, can be a powerful step. By sharing, you'll see you are not alone in this. Let's show each other that. Thank you for taking the time to be here today.